What's selling fast right now? As resellers, that's the question we're all trying to answer. And so in this video, I want to share what's selling fast for me right now, sometimes within minutes or hours after a listing. And if you want to help a fellow reseller out, let us know in the comments down below what's selling fast for you right now. And also be sure to stick around to the end of this video when I share a few items that I regret sourcing. But all right, let's dive in. Like I mentioned, I have a bunch of items that sold literally within hours after a listing, but we'll work our way there and start first with what sold 7 days after listing. Okay, so first on the list is a brand that is new to me. I've never sold it before. The brand is The Line by K. It's sold on places like Revolve and apparently is a really good bolo brand that is easy to miss, so I wanted to be sure to mention it. This tank sold 7 days after I listed it. I paid $13.99 for it. It sold for $40. A tank top selling for $40, only 7 days after listing. Had to mention it. And my profit was $20.96. It sold on eBay, so it was a really good sale. Definitely would love to find more of The Line by K. Next is a brand that has long been a major bolo within the reselling community, but now you have to be more selective with it, and that is Patagonia. But I will say outerwear by Patagonia still sells really fast. So if you come across a coat, or in this case, a vest, be sure to pick it up. This sold after 7 days of listing. Actually, I just shipped it out. My cost of goods was quite high. It was $32.50, which I don't know if I'd paid that much for this again, but I did sell it for $64, and it did generate a profit of $18.70, and it sold on Poshmark. So that was a pretty quick flip for almost 20 bucks profit. Not bad. I'll definitely be keeping my eye out for Patagonia outerwear as I go thrifting in the future. Next is another new to me brand. In fact, there are a bunch of shoe brands on this list that I've never sold before but performed really well, and so I'm really excited to be selling more shoes moving forward. This brand, actually similar to another one on this list, is a barefoot shoe, so it kind of feels like you're barefoot when you're wearing it. There was no inner sole, which was surprising to me, but part of the design. The brand is Groundies. It was a really cute shoe. It was called the Panama Sneaker in a size 10. I got it for $26.99 and it sold 6 days after listing it. It sold on Poshmark for $70, which gave me a profit of about $29. Not bad. Next is still the best-selling athletic wear brand, and that is Vuori. I thrifted these jogger sweatpants at Goodwill, only paid $6.99 for them, and they sold after 4 days for $46, giving me a profit of $29.81 over on Poshmark. I love finding Vuori. Not all styles sell well. In fact, men's swimsuits I find can sit around for a while, but joggers like this are the perfect piece to find because they are quick flips for $40 plus often. Sometimes y'all let me know in the comments down below if I mention a brand it's not selling for you. If you want to do that, you can also include the link of the item not selling for you so I can give you feedback as to why I think it's not. It could be listing quality, it could be price, it could be the style. That's oftentimes the biggest thing. Every single brand is style dependent these days. Some styles are going to perform well, some styles aren't, but there's rarely a brand in which everything will fly off the shelves. So it is a good idea to always check comps. But if you want specific feedback, feel free to leave those links in the comments down below and I'll be able to provide better feedback when replying to your comment. Okay, next on the list is a brand I love selling. I get it whenever I find it at Goodwill, and I oftentimes pick it up when I come across it at Crossroads too. For some reason, this pair of pants was half off at Crossroads, and so I was really excited to snag it. The brand is Frank and Eileen. These are the Wicklow pants. Granted, these pants didn't seem like anything crazy special. They just kind of seemed like a pair of green pants, but there is a customer base that loves Frank and Eileen. These sold after only 3 days. My converted cost of goods was $6.92, and they sold on eBay for $77.99, which gave me a profit of $49.38. Almost 50 bucks profit. That's awesome. I love selling Frank and Eileen. Next is another brand that I've been wanting to find for a long time, and I'm so happy that I did find it and I got to sell it quickly. The brand is Thursday Boot Company. These were like new condition Chelsea boots. My cost of goods was $26.99, and they sold for $75 over on eBay, which gave me a profit of $35.10. Such a good sale. Definitely be on the lookout for Thursday Boot Company. Another shoe. This is actually, I think, my first time selling this brand, and you probably have heard of it already. On. I think it used to be On Running. I don't know. Correct me in the comments down below. But this was the Roger Advantage sneakers. This is probably the best-selling sneaker brand. It used to be APL, which has since like died. I mean, APL just doesn't sell anymore. Used to be Hoka. Hoka actually still sells well. In fact, it'll show up later on this list. But On Running or On is like just the probably best sneaker brand to sell these days. And so I'm always on the lookout for it. These sold after only 3 days over on eBay. They were in excellent condition. My cost of goods, I paid up for them at $29.99. They sold for $74.99, and they gave me a profit of $24, which is great. 3 days to make $24. I will take it all day long. My next item had a much lower cost of goods, but I was really excited and confused to find this half off at Goodwill. The brand is Not Perfect Linen, and linen brands like this one can perform really well. Usually when I come across a linen brand that I'm not familiar with, I'll pull out my phone and look it up because there are so many of them that perform well. If you aren't familiar with Not Perfect Linen, now you are. This top sold after only 2 days. I paid $4.99 for it at Goodwill because it was half off, and it sold for $50 over on eBay, which made my profit $31.33 after fees and shipping and cost of goods. So yay, very happy with that profit. Even lower cost of goods. This is actually something that I thrifted for my children, but now they're outgrown it, which is so sad. I'm actually going to keep a lookout for this type of item at the bins moving forward. These are vintage Oshkosh Bagosh overalls, and this was a rare cowboy print. I didn't know it at the time that it was rare, but I guess it was, and these were a size 12 months. I listed these and they sold after only 2 days over on eBay. My cost of goods was $1.10 because I got them at the bins, and they sold for $39.99. So $40 for a pair of kids overalls, which is pretty bonkers. And my profit was $27.96. So very happy with that sale. The next item on the list is a brand that I went over in a video where I talked about brands that a lot of resellers pass. I'll link that video up on the screen. The brand is Beechwood. This is actually a maternity brand, but it's a maternity brand that can be worn postpartum and beyond, which is cool. This is called the Caftan Jumpsuit. I think it's one of their best-selling pieces. It sold after only 1 day of listing. My cost of goods was $28.99, and it sold for $75. My profit was $34.17, and it sold over on eBay. So definitely going to continue to pick up Beechwood and be on the lookout for it. Yeah, the brand tag doesn't really give it away that it is a maternity brand. The brand under Poshmark actually goes by Beechwood Baby, so something to keep in mind if you are checking comps. And yeah, it doesn't seem like it's a brand that would necessarily sell for $75 plus, but if you do find it at Goodwill or at the thrift store, be sure to pick it up because it's a quick selling, highly sought after brand. Okay, next I wanted to include on the list just because I just pulled it out of one of my closets at home and it sold really fast. This was a New Attack Anthropology pillow that I'd had for such a long time and decided I was never going to use. So I went ahead and listed it, and it sold really fast. Sold after 1 day over on eBay for $32, which gave me a profit of $26.38. So yeah, if you have any New Attack bedding just hanging out at your house, go ahead and list it because could result in a very quick flip. Okay, next is a dress that I actually had for a very long time, but then it got returned on eBay just for fit. I listed it and then it sold the next day after listing, so I thought I'd go ahead and mention it. The brand is La Femme. It is one of my favorite formal wear brands to sell. It sells really well, especially in the mother of the bride category. This was a beautiful dress. I listed it for $150 and it sold the next day full price. I got it in liquidation a long time ago, but my cost of goods was $5.84. So I made $124.40 profit. Definitely going to continue to pick up La Femme. Generally, this was a size 6. Generally, I like to pick, size, I guess 6 and up, but really more 8, 10 and up performs best. I would typically just stay away from like the 0, 2, and even 4 sizes. Okay, next, actually, this was a brand that was on my last video of what's selling fast, which if you haven't watched that, I'll link that up on the screen because I did that video about 2 months ago. I'm thinking about doing this video every 2 months. If that sounds good to you, let me know in the comments down below. But that time, the brand showed up in the swimwear category. Now it's showing up in the athletic wear category. And actually, I also talked about this in the brands that a lot of people miss. The brand is Monday. It's easy to pass a brand that just is Monday. But this is a very great bolo brand, both in swimwear and athletic wear. This was a Nuitag Monday body legging in brown. I also sold 2 pairs of shorts by this brand really fast. This sold the same day as I listed it over on Mercari. My cost of goods was $19.99 and it sold same day, so literally within hours of listing, if not minutes, for $52. So my gross profit after fees, shipping, cost of goods was $21.79. So I definitely am always now on the lookout for Monday, both in the swimwear section, cover-ups do well, swimwear does well, and in the athletic wear section. Okay, I mentioned that there was another barefoot shoe brand on the list, and that is this one, Vivo Barefoot. I actually have been kind of perusing Vivo Barefoot a lot recently for kids shoes, but they of course do really well in adult shoes too. This is for people who like to run, I think, with that barefoot philosophy or just live their life in a barefoot shoe. But this is a brand that sells really well, and I think this is the first time that I have had the chance to pick it up. I paid $25.99 for these shoes. They did have quite a bit of scuffing on the suede upper, but they were still in excellent condition. But still, they sold same day within hours of listing for $68, which gave me a gross profit of $22.39 over on Poshmark. I definitely want to sell this brand again. Vivo Barefoot is definitely one to know. If you find it, it's in good condition, I would say pick it up. Okay, I mentioned Hoka was on the list, and I don't get the chance to sell a lot of Hokas, but I definitely was excited. I paid $20.99 for this pair of Hoka Bondi 8s, but it had a really deep cut from a piece of glass on the outer sole, so I listed them kind of low, but luckily they still sold super fast for $47, which gave me a gross profit of $16.61. So I am definitely going to continue to pick up Hokas. There's a huge customer base for Hokas. I think they'll buy them for like anything from like mowing the lawn to running to anything. People just love Hokas. So even if you find them in not great condition, there's still a customer base for them, especially certain styles. And I'm not super familiar on the styles that I do best. If any of y'all are, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, Hoka definitely still a very fast selling brand on average. Next on the list is one of my favorite brands, both to wear and to sell. I really wanted to keep this top, and maybe I should have, but I'm not mad that I sold it because it sold same day. Damson Matter. Have y'all heard this brand? A really big bolo brand. It's sold on Anthropologie, Revolve, Shopbop, etc. I think. And it performs really well. This was a really cute oversized collar blouse that I picked up. I paid up for it $29.99 and it sold same day for $68, giving me a gross profit of $24.41 over on Poshmark. Very happy with the sale. Definitely will continue to pick up this brand and I just love selling it. I've mentioned before, but the next item on this list is one of my go-tos when it comes to paying up for things, but this is Nuitag Show Me Your Muumuu, a fully sequenced dress. Regular Show Me Your Muumuu, like bridesmaid pieces, don't sell very well anymore, but sequenced items sell really well. In fact, I sold a sequenced jumpsuit that was pre-owned really fast earlier this year. This one performed so well. Very, very happy. This was a new tag mini dress with like celestial moons and stars on it. Sold same day. I paid up for this $77.99, but it paid off because I received an offer for $200 literally minutes after listing it. And so I made a profit of about $82 over on Poshmark. Super happy with that sale, and will continue to be on the lookout for Show Me Your Mumu sequence pieces, especially new at tag, but even pre-owned. Next, this was my first time finding this brand, and it lived up to the hype. I found Hill House Home, the nap dress, at Goodwill. It actually had some fading to it because it was black and had probably been washed a few times, which I did mention in the description, but still it sold same day for $50 over on Mercari. I paid $9.99, and so my profit was $28.99. Super happy with this sale. We'll continue to pick up Hill House. I don't love paying up for it. It does sell, I think, for a little bit lower average sales price these days, but if I come across it at Goodwill, I'm definitely picking it up. Next was a new to me brand, another shoe brand, Vibe. I honestly don't know how to pronounce it. Vibae. Sold so fast. I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for it. I was actually shocked how fast it sold. Sold like within minutes of listing it. My cost of goods was $26.99, and they sold for $100. They were basically leather mules, or like, I guess, house slippers. My profit was about $53 over on Poshmark. Super, super happy with this sale. Bolo brand alert, Vibe, I think. And last is a sale that I actually didn't make a lot of profit on because it had a flaw that I didn't notice until I was listing it, but I just wanted to include it on the list because this is, again, a Bolo brand that is still selling really fast dough-in. This is the Vendetta dress. And the reason I listed it lower and the reason I didn't make a huge profit on it is because the darts or the seams on the back were coming loose. So I paid a lot of money for this. I paid $52 because Doan is a brand I'll definitely pay up for. But then once I basically saw the flaw, I decided just to like list it and try to get my money back, not try to make a huge profit. So it did sell for $70, so I made a $4 profit. But if it was in better condition, it would have listed it for higher, would have had a higher return, but still love selling and be on the lookout for Doan, one of the fastest selling brands in women's wear today. Okay, so those are the 20 sales I wanted to share of what's selling fast for me right now. Now I want to go over the 4 items that I regret picking up for various reasons, some of which I just recently listed, so we'll see how they perform, but upon listening to them, I was like, oh, I kind of regret picking this up. Okay, the first is this Anthropologie Areta one-shoulder midi dress. It's not performing super well. I actually wasn't familiar with this brand Areta, but when I looked it up, I realized it is sold at Anthropologie, so I wanted to give it a go. But the problem with it isn't the brand or even the style, it's the size, extra small. I find Anthropologie extra small pieces, unless they're really sought after styles, I have a hard time moving. So if this brand was 1X or like extra large or large, I think it would have sold by now, but I've had this listed since July 19th. I paid up for it too. I paid $28.99. So I think from now on, I'm just not going to pay up for Anthropologie pieces in a size extra small unless I'm really certain it's a fast selling style. Next is a brand that I've never sold before. I took a chance on it, and whenever I do that, I am taking on a risk, but this is something that I do regret picking up. It is New Tag Peachy Den jumpsuit. Peachy Den is, I think, a British brand that, you know, again, I wasn't sure if it was going to perform well, and now I'm thinking it's not. So I need to lower the price, which is fine. I listed it on July 27th, and I paid $22.99. So again, I paid up for it too. It is new at tag, which is nice, but my listing price is $100. So I think I need to lower that, and hopefully it will move, especially going into fall. But I think right now it has 0 likes on Poshmark, so that's not great. Wouldn't necessarily recommend running to pick up Peachy Den pieces. The next 2 are items I actually listed yesterday, but upon listing, I'm like, oh man, I don't think I should have picked I don't think I should pick these up. This one is actually one that was on my Instagram reel of a thrift with me. If you don't follow me on Instagram, be sure to do that because I do post content over there that's fun, like thrift with me's and stuff like that. But this was New Attack's Song of Style, which is a Revolve in-house brand, and I am very much moving away from picking up Revolve in-house brands like Lovers and Friends, NBD, etc. Song of Style is another one. I picked this up because it was New Attack's. It was a size extra large, but I do regret it because I just think it's gonna sit. And I listed it for $42. Again, I listed it yesterday, but we'll see if it sells. I have a feeling it won't. And then the last one is another brand that was new to me. The brand, I don't know how it would perform because again, I just listed it yesterday, but because of the style, I do regret picking it up. The brand, I guess, is Weekend, WKND WYFR. I paid too much for this. It is New Attack. It's called the Raven dress, but the reason I regret picking it up is because it's an ombre like dip dye look. Typically the tie-dye look is not selling well right now, and I tend to stay away from tie-dye things. I think maybe tie-dye might make a comeback next year because it seems like everything is leaning more towards like 70s bohemia type of look, but tie-dye had a huge surge during the pandemic, and now it is very much dropped off. But we'll see. Maybe next spring this will sell. I don't know. It is cute. I like the colors on it, but I paid $28.99 for it. Paid way too much, and I regret that a lot. So I listed it for $85. We'll see how it does. But just with the brand being a question mark for me and the style being not the best, I'm regretting picking that up. But we'll see how it does. All right, well, that is the video. Again, let me know in the comments down below what has sold quickly for you recently. I love reading the comments. I love learning from y'all. So thank you in advance to everyone who does share that information. Also, let me know if this is the type of video you like to see. Would you like to see it more often, like every other month? Because yeah, I find these types of videos really helpful for me in my reselling business. But that's it. All right, well, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, love y'all. Bye.